My name is Jocelyn Keller, and today I'm presenting Homeschooling in the United States. In 2016, there were an estimated 1.7 million homeschoolers in the U.S. That is double the amount present in 2000, which points to the ever-increasing trend of alternative education. Homeschooling is essentially described as parent, guardian, or tutor-led education of a student from within their own home. In 2016, most homeschoolers consisted of white or Latino students. Rural areas and families with 3 or more children are more likely to be homeschoolers. Many homeschoolers have in common that they've been in the public education system for at least some time. There are many motives for homeschooling. Religion usually seems to be the main one. In 2012, 64% of homeschoolers had religious motives for homeschooling their family. This decreased to 51% in 2016. Evangelical Christianity makes up most of this 51%. The quality of life, the quality of environment of the local public school is the most shared reason of motive to homeschool a family. Academia is one as well. Some families believe that they would be able to better educate their children than the public education system can. And many other things that could be traveling or chronic illness, etc. There are quite a few advantages to homeschooling, no one can deny that. There is the opportunity for one-on-one learning and more of a focus on the student-specific needs and learning styles. Potentially helpful for people with physical or learning disabilities that aren't accommodated for at a public school. There is lots of freedom to set your own pace. If you need to take your time, you can do that, and if you want to speed it up, you can do that too. And homeschoolers are able to advance much more quickly than students of public schools as they can do extra work, for example, through the weekend or through the summer break. Research notes that their advantages are mainly based off of small class sizes, individualized instruction, or more academic time spent on the core subjects such as reading and writing. There are quite a few disadvantages as well. First one being the overall very low legal standards. There is not always a required certified teacher, potentially unreliable information, I would guess. There is also the potential avenue for abuse of homeschooled children and students, and socialization issues with students who are isolated. There is the cost to homeschoolers, which is pretty high whenever you have a big family like mine, where my mother had 8 children and homeschooled them all at the price of $600 per student annually, and that added up, especially with the fact that homeschool parents still pay taxes to public schools but don't take advantage of it. UC Berkeley political scientist Reppert said this: "Homeschooling can result in biased students, as many homeschooling parents view the education of their children as a matter properly under their own control and no one else's."
Family values to their children also. But a debate is raging across the nation over whether the government has the right to regulate homeschooling. Some states require homeschool students to pass early exams, while 11 states do not even require families to register with any agency in order to homeschool their child. Virginia is considered a state with moderate regulation. Katrina Heck, who homeschools her 10-year-old twins, says it's her right as an American to homeschool.
Being an American and enjoying the freedoms that we have here, I'm so grateful that I have the choice of how to educate and train my children, and one of those options is to be at home.
But others, like homeschool alumni Sarah Jones, say a lack of regulation leaves homeschooling open to failure.
In order to qualify for a teaching job in any other educational environment, you do have to go to college. You have to pass basic tests, and you're subject to oversight. And I don't think it makes any sense for homeschool parents to be subjected to less regulation.
Critics also say
Regulation of homeschooling in the U.S. There are states that require no regulation at all, which is requiring no notice of homeschooling your child. 12 states have no regulation. 16 states have low regulation, which is a mere notice of homeschooling your child to the government. 16 states have moderate regulation, which includes sending a letter of notification to the state, test scores, and a professional evaluation of your student's progress. And unfortunately, there is 6 states with high regulation. They require that there's a notification of enrollment in homeschooling. There's an achievement test score, professional evaluation, plus other requirements, including requirements on the curriculum, the teacher qualification of parents or whoever, or home visits by state officials. And my homeschooling experience. I spent 10 years being homeschooled, first by my mother, then online content and programs, and then myself. I found it very difficult to homeschool myself. I skipped grades in elementary. I was able to choose the basic direction of my education. An example, choosing which books I want to read from which grade I would prefer. I temporarily attended a private school in 6th grade and found myself struggling very, very much on the basic tenets of elementary education. That was very embarrassing, and that was really when I started to notice maybe something wasn't right. I was taught religious pseudoscience. It wasn't until college that I was taught empirical science, and it has definitely been an eye-opening time. I was socially isolated and felt trapped in a very uncomfortable and stressful home environment, unfortunately. While I did score above my age in most tests, I still felt that I was not properly educated to the extent that I could see other people were. And that is all. Thank you very much.